Back again. I believe that the lady who was up here about the senior housing, I think that this township needs to take a hard look at that, because there are a lot of people who believe that the school, when we sold it to these people, that that's what it's going to be. And I don't think she was asking your permission. What I think she wants to know is if you'd be interested in any kind of senior living in this township. You have none.
Yeah,
I mean, I really believe that if this township needs to grow and they want to take care of their senior citizens, I think that you need to take a little harder look at that suggestion and let this lady and the company she works for absolutely go out and try to find, because the funding with First Street Elementary School, it took 3 years to get. So I think that, you know, we could be a little more open to what she's looking at and what she wants to do for this township.
we weren't sending her away. I just didn't like.
No, I don't think that what she wanted was to be able to, you to say, you need to make plans and bring it to the zoning board and all that. I don't think that they own the land. So, okay, you have to have planning, go through the planning commission. I think she just needed some support from the township. Just verbal support.
But to your point, Darla, you've sat on a board. Like, we can't bind future boards. So while this board
Oh,
here,
absolutely, you can though. I mean, if you okay it before the next board comes in, then it's okay. That's just how it works.
but there's no, like, our verbal saying, like, that's not a formal vote.
I know.
Saying,
It's not-
us saying yes or no.
Cindy. She asked you for if you were interested. Didn't ask for a vote.
We didn't say we weren't interested. I just want to set her up for success, which setting her up for success is following the right channels. If we sit here and say, yes, we're in favor of it, and then future down the line, somebody says, no, I don't want that to happen. I want her to come to the plan and go to the planning commission. They're very good. They're just like us, and it will help her work through that process to get it done.
Yeah, okay. But what I'm saying is I don't think that that's what she got out of that. I'm just saying. That's what it seemed like.
It's a good start already. Hi, my name is Jay Barbarossa. I live at 960 Baker Road, and I'm not real good at speaking either, but I'm going to read you my notes, so you just bear with me. It'll take about 4 or 5 minutes, because I'd like to inform the board and the residents of Cecil Township what's going on with Baker Road.
Hold that up here.
Okay. Anyways, good evening, Chairperson Cindy Fisher, to the Board of Supervisors and the residents of Cecil Township.
Can you do me a favor, Jack? Can you help him? Because I don't think it's getting picked up on here.
I can speak loud. Yeah, you don't.
It's just for the recording, because we're recording it to make sure everybody's comments get picked up.
My wife's going to kill me.
We'll protect you from hearing. Yes, you're good.
Anyways, I've been a resident of Cecil Township for 29 years. I live on Baker Road. I'm here tonight to discuss some serious problems that are occurring on our road. But before I indulge into these, I want to give you a little history about Baker Road to inform the residents as well as the township supervisors of what's been going on over those 29 years. My wife and I were married in 1988. We're looking to relocate somewhere between Pittsburgh and Washington and cut our commute to work. So we heard about Cecil Township. It was a great rural community just south of Allegheny County. Taxes were low, people were friendly, good schools, sort of like the community my wife grew up in Westmoreland County. So we found this flat little tree-lined road, red dog road, called Baker Road. It's a perfect place to build our home and raise our family. The funny part was our dream was going to hopefully would come true, but we didn't realize it was just the start of a long nightmare. So now, this was before Cherrybrook, if all of you recall, before South Point Interchange was built, before South Point development was even started. And Morgan's was still a flat little road that was a shortcut between Cannonsburg through the little town of Hendersonville on the way to Bridgeville. We were in our home a year, and some guy from Turnpike Commission, and I believe Gateway Engineering, showed up at our door and told us they were going to build this toll road to Pittsburgh all the way to Finleyville. It was going to go right through Baker Road. And as we, like the rest of our residents, were totally shocked. I could not imagine a 4-lane road being built on Baker Road, a shortcut, just to appease the residents of Peters Township because they didn't want the road through their neighborhood. But he did tell us the road wasn't funded. It would be years before the road was ever built. Here we are, 20-some years later. We all look out there and see the construction. And hearing and construction over the last 2 years. One of the proposed routes was also to be used on Boyce Road. But again, that was shut down, and it was shut down into our neighborhood, Cecil Township. Then 2 bridges were built over the Montour Trail, and as a result, Baker Road was rehabilitated from a gravel Red Dog Road to a paved road, which was great for the residents, but until we realized it brought a lot of traffic onto our road. It also became a shortcut to Morganza Road from all people from Route 19. Over the years, Baker Road's been chipped and tarred, used by lots of cars and pickup trucks, and with that, speeding became a bigger problem. Baker Road had never been widened. It never had lines painted on it because at the time, this board of directors, even though a lot of you weren't here, you didn't think it was necessary because it is a township road, not a state road. So during the last 15 years, I personally had to replace 6 mailboxes. I've had 4 cars towed out in my front yard, and the speeding never ever stopped. We had one girl crash because she was driving too fast, actually admitted to me, and she didn't want to tell her dad because she just got her driver's license. One guy crashed, knocked over my brick-laid post, crashed in a tree. We called the police department. They did show up, and they arrested him on DUI charges. This is just what I've experienced. Not alone, some of my neighbors have also incurred the same kind of problems over the years.
Let me say something. I have 3 new mailboxes and a new gas meter. I'm his neighbor. That's because we both live right on top of Baker Road coming up from Lawrence. And you cannot see the traffic coming up the hill, and they can't see the turns, and they just keep wiping us out. Speeding, of course. Go ahead, Jay, I'm sorry.
That's no problem, Jack. On top of that, we had another issue that came about that I never thought would ever experience. My little girl, in 2014, decided to was enrolled at Cecil Elementary School, or excuse me, Hills Henderson School, and had to get on a school bus. Little did we know that all this traffic created another problem, and people didn't respect the school bus. So we had, from the years from she was at Hills Henderson, all the way to the elementary school, both Catherine and my son Giovanni, we had to make sure they got on the bus because people don't respect the school bus. And we were fortunate over the years, talking to Ken and Matt, that the school bus driver actually put himself at risk to protect our kids, would pull diagonally across the road so people wouldn't go around them. So as concerned citizens, we did the best we could. So my daughter now is, she's 23, my son's 17, a senior at Ken and Matt. So we did everything we could. We contacted Cecil Police, who always showed up and tried to address the speeding problem over the years, including this year. I'm sure you've had other important problems to deal with, but you guys always showed up. And I must admit, Cecil Township even showed up all 3 times I was robbed. So kudos to you guys. And as far as compliments go, I also want to thank the road crew. They took care of salting the road during the winter seasons, in addition to clearing the road from the trees that had fallen. And they're always very good, especially on news. So fast forward, the Turnpike Commission decided to install a roundabout at the intersection of Morganza and Morgan Road last year. I'm guessing to address and hopefully reduce the amount of accidents that were caused at the intersection of Morgan, Baker, and Morganza. It was constantly, for any of us that lived there, would hear a week later there was a crash when somebody ran the stop sign. And there were 4 stop signs there. And it was also, if any of you remember, there was a fatality right below that intersection. So when I personally got involved in going to the meetings with the interstate at the Turnpike Commission, they did promise us they would straighten out Morganza Road. I also never figured in my lifetime they were ever going to tear all those homes down and put this road up. So as much as I'm for progress, I'm against the toll road, and I think I've voiced my concerns multiple times over the years at these meetings. So right now, because of Maybe Road being closed and the roundabout, everybody's traveling on Baker Road. I also found out that GPS now puts it as the quickest route to 79 if you're coming from Route 19. And because of that increased car traffic, pickup traffic, which is still automotive, would now have to deal with tractor trailers. My wife and I have counted on average 20 to 25 18-wheel tractor trailers daily. I don't think any of you have, unless you live on Baker Road, have that issue. If you do, I feel very sympathetic for you. And anybody that has children, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Kids can't even play close to the street. My kids are growing up, but there's kids on our street and grandchildren that have to stay away from our road. I've contacted the police. They come up every time. They set up a speed sign for a month. Kudos to that, but the only failure I could see is they didn't have the authority to pull people over because of the laws in Pennsylvania. So as soon as the sign went down, people started speeding. And the speed limit is 25 miles per hour on a road, not 40. But people are going on the average 35, 40, 50. And the truck traffic at night is terrible. The residents that live on our road have to hear the Jake brakes on both the Georgetown side and the Morganza side of the road constantly. So the last two incidents was September the 7th, first day of school. The school bus pulls up to pick my son up. I need a drink of water. The school bus driver pulls over to the side. That's okay, I'm fine, I'll get by. Pulls over to the side, opens the door, the gate comes out, and a tractor trailer comes up Baker Road, runs right past the school bus. Luckily, we were taking pictures of my son that day, otherwise he wouldn't be here. Fast forward to Tuesday last week, a tractor trailer comes down our road and pulls down the electric to my house, to Chuck's, and another neighbor. And I have to, again, kudos to Cecil Township. The cop shows up, the police department, shows up, the fire department shows up, Eric actually showed up. People with 4 West Penn trucks were still trying to drive through that construction zone. People don't, and I can't specifically say it's people that live in Cecil Township or it's people coming from 19th. They're driving down our road and no respect for us. I think over the years, I brought this up a couple of times, and unfortunately, nothing's been done. I've been fighting by myself. So I thought I'd try something a little different. So I talked to all the residents over the weekend, and I have a petition and I have everybody sign it. I'd like to read it real quick, and then I'd like you to respond. We, the undersigned, are concerned citizens and residents of Baker Road, request our leaders on Cecil Township Board of Supervisors to act accordingly and immediately correct the safety concerns brought on by the increased traffic on Baker Road. The installation is roundabout the intersection of Baker and Morganza, and the closing of Mayview Road may be a part of the problem that's led to the increased traffic flow. The 18-wheeler and construction equipment has increased significantly as well. It seems to be growing steadily. And I'm guessing as soon as the new toll road is going to be completed, it's going to even compound 10 times more. Speeding continues to be a constant problem. The lack of a weight posting allows for these large semi-trucks to be on Baker Road as a shortcut to their destination, both during the daylight hours and especially late in the evening after midnight. The sound of these trucks sounds just like they're driving right to your house. The use of the Jake brakes wakes you up at night. The road's dark, it's narrow, it's heavily tree-lined, and steep grade limits on both Georgetown Road and Morganza. In both directions, this has caused multiple vehicles to accelerate because of the steep incline. Baker Road's been unmarked. There's still no center lines to keep vehicles on their own side of the road, even if they are speeding. This road was not built or designed to handle all this traffic. Your favorable consideration of our request would be appreciated, and we will follow this issue.